What's going on, guys? This is the Edge DFS. Thank you for joining us. We're talking showdown, Bears versus Saints. And guess what? It looks like it's all over there in Nashville. Lamar just got a first down. Looks like they're going to move on, right? I mean, they've got 2 timeouts left, but I think this one's over. Don't you think?
Yeah, this one's over. Luckily, my cash game looks like it's going to survive to make me break even in comparison with my GPP there. Didn't quite nail the game here on this one. Marquise Brown had a pretty solid day.
Yeah, he did. Ellie, you around?
And I accidentally had Sam Sloman get snuck into one of my lineups, dude.
Oh, so, did he really? Ellie, check 1 2. Ellie, back out and come back in, and we'll see you in a minute. Let's get some Gus Edwards garbage time rushes here. That would be nice. So anyways, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. I know that some of you guys are trickling in with this game. I'm going to remove Ellie here. I'm going to let him come back in. All right. So thank you guys once again. We're talking Bears versus Saints. Let's just get right into this here. Let's look at the Vegas line. Chicago's 8-8, barely made the playoffs. It's Mitch Trubisky time. The Saints are at home. They're the number 2 seed. Look at those odds. I think they actually crept up to minus 600 in the last few minutes. But 85% win probability, minus 598. This is a minus 10.5 point spread, a 48.5 over under. The ownership is heavily towards New Orleans. This is a crazy line here for sure. Ellie, you around? Don't see him yet. This is an interesting, crazy line. Hit us up in the chat. Thanks, guys. How'd you guys do for that? How'd you guys do for that first game? Let us know. Ellie, are you around? You back? Check. Technical difficulties. We'll figure this out. But for now, if you just look at this, this is really interesting. This should be a blowout, right? That's what we're thinking here.
I don't know.
Yo, you around, Ellie? And the good old internet. We love it. But look, I think this is a little bit over exaggerated here. I know the Bears are not. Look, the Bears are not a good team. We all know that. I think Mitch Trubisky has been shit on all season. I think there's an opportunity for him to have a breakout performance here. I think this game can be a lot closer than Vegas thinks it can be. 10.5 spread is a lot in the NFL, and these odds, that's a lot on the money line here. I'd be willing to take a flyer if I was betting, to take a flyer on Chicago at plus 10.5. Just me personally. So let's get into the injuries here. We'll try to get Ellie back, but for now, let's look at these injuries. Nothing really to talk about. I mean, look, we have Darnell Mooney who's out, which is big news. That's a huge deal. Excuse me. Darnell Mooney being out is a big deal to me, but we've known about that at least for a few days now, that he could be out. So that really gives a boost to Anthony Miller. That gives a boost to Allen Robinson. That gives a boost to a lot of these pass catchers, even some of the tight ends that we can talk about here. And then look, we got Traquan Smith out, which gives a boost to some of these other wide receivers. we got Traquan Smith out. Now we got Michael Thomas coming back. Deontay Harris should be back. Ellie, you around? Check. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
There you are. Somebody watching Netflix or what? Kick them off Netflix in your house.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you're kind of choppy.
I don't know what's going on. I pay a lot of money for this fucking internet.
Well, you need to get a refund or something. So
okay.
Obviously Traquan Smith is out. Deontay Harris is coming off IR, which is nice. We have some options here on the low end when it comes to Saints wide receivers. Ellie, if you're with me still, what are your thoughts on these injuries and how do we adjust with Darnell Mooney out and Traquan Smith out? Nothing.
I'm not huge on Traquan.
I hear you. Oh, I fucking hate technology. I'm sorry, guys. We'll get this fixed. In the meantime, we'll just continue on down the road here. To me, I don't think it's a huge deal. We got Michael Thomas coming back. So Traquan Smith being out is sort of a boost to some of these other guys, but I just think it gives more targets to Michael Thomas. We just don't know how Michael Thomas is gonna play in this particular game. We haven't seen him consistently throughout the year, and when we do see him, he's hot and cold. We don't know how he's gonna come out. So it's interesting here with these injuries. Let's see. Look at that. Talk to me, bro.
Okay. Look.
Wow.
Can you hear me now?
Shit, I can hear you. This is a fucking Christmas miracle.
Jeez, dude. I don't even understand what was going on there. Darnell Mooney out. I think that's huge news, right? Anthony Miller is going to be in a pretty big spot. He's going to go back to that role that Darnell Mooney really dominated. And then Traquan Smith being out, I think that just gives a boost to a guy like Marquez Callaway or Deontay Harris. So, those injuries are going to be kind of important for how I build for this slate.
So it's a little bit of a tighter schedule for this particular game. If you guys are just coming in, throw us a like real quick. We're going to get through this as quick as we can. I know that lock is in less than an hour. We're going to go into a breakdown of each position. We'll do our fades, our captain choice for DraftKings. We'll build a lineup together. We'll get you a cash lineup as sort of a safer lineup, and then in the tournament lineups here. And then we'll move into our final thoughts as lock happens. We'll look at ownership. So thank you for joining us. Let's just get right into this breakdown, Ellie. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Break it down.
All right. So we're gonna show our Captain Crunch. Let me pull this up. This is our Captain Crunch graphic, which kind of gives us a pretty basic idea as to where things are going when it comes to captain ownership and captain lineups with projected points, ceilings, things like that. So when you look at this, you see the ownership there on the second column. Basically what I did was I crunched out 250 lineups with each of these guys at captain. These are the highest projected points based on that captain, top ceiling. And if you look to the far right, we have our dupes, which is we're just basically calculating the product of the ownership multiplied by the contest size, and that gets us our projected amount of dupes for these particular captains. So what jumps out to you here, Ellie? Looks like Kamara is going to be the obvious choice for captain. I mean, the dude scored 6 touchdowns last time he played. You got to consider him in every single lineup. The question is, do we have to play him at captain? Because it's going to be a little interesting to get different in the flex. So what jumps out to you here, dude?
Yeah, man. I think honestly, I think that the clearest one I see is Allen Robinson at the captain spot. He's got the 11% ownership, which isn't too crazy. He's got the second highest projected output. And he's got one of the higher ceilings. I think this is going to be an interesting slate because we do have that value that we didn't have on the last game. So I honestly think going to a guy like Allen Robinson might be fine. Alvin Kamara is obviously probably the top play on the slate for the captain spot. But given his ownership, it is going to be a little bit interesting there. But I think those are my two guys, Alvin Kamara and really Allen Robinson. I might have more of Allen Robinson than anybody else at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, Drew Brees is grading out pretty good. He's a pretty safe like cash play as well at the captain. If you want it to be maybe slightly different, he's got a pretty high floor there. When it comes to dupes, like if you look at this, for this particular slate in the middle of the day, the contest sizes are a little bit bigger. So we're seeing a big difference when it comes to, potentially 10 dupes, upwards of that with a 35,000 entry contest. That's kind of the max so far on DraftKings for this slate. So look, 10 dupes, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't give a shit. If you get 10 dupes or below, I'm totally fine with that. When you start to get over 20 and 30, 50, 100, that's where you start to have to think about, okay, I can't enter this lineup. It's just too in a tournament. When you're doing cash, obviously, just embrace that. Try to get as high of a floor as you possibly can. When it comes to David Montgomery here, he's not grading out very well, and same with Michael Thomas. They're kind of right in the middle when it comes to ownership. But look at Allen Robinson getting similar ownership in the captain to all of those guys, and he's just popping. As well as look at Mitch Trubisky. I know that the ceiling is a little bit misleading because we're only talking about a point or half a point here and there. But Mitch Trubisky popping in the ceiling at 8% ownership in the captain. Can you take some flyers on Mitch Trubisky at captain today?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I mean, he does have the rushing upside. So you can grab a touchdown or 40, 50 yards there. But other than that, I'm not sure that I'm going to go towards the David Montgomery route. I'm not a huge fan of him today in this matchup. The New Orleans Saints defensive line is pretty solid. Their front seven is just pretty solid, right? They've been playing pretty tough as of late, and I just don't like this matchup for David Montgomery. But not to get back into the narrative land like we were in the last show, but this could very easily be Drew Brees last year, right? And I think that's really easy to rally a team up, and a quality team like the Saints, right? They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, so this shouldn't be this should be a game that they are able to kind of win and handle pretty easily. So I'm not going to lean towards David Montgomery simply because I do think the Bears are going to have to throw in this game. Yeah,
I agree. And his price is pretty up there. We'll get into him in the breakdown. But Ellie, real quick, I want to go back to this Vegas line here. This looks like a fucking League of Legends odds here. Yeah. Minus 598. I think it's crept up to minus 600. I mean, we're talking about the Bears here. I get it.
We just the Bears are what we thought they were.
So is this a little drastic here at minus 10.5 spread with a 48.5 over under? I feel like the over under is probably right there. But look, does Chicago have any chance here? This feels to me like Chicago can come out and possibly make it closer than we think it's possible. What do you think about that? Am I crazy here?
No, you're not. I mean, if last night the Washington football team was able to stay competitive against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think it's just as likely Chicago stays competitive with New Orleans. The one thing Chicago doesn't have is as talented defense as Washington has, but I think Chicago has the pieces to stay somewhat competitive. Unfortunately, a lot of this rides so much on the success of Mitch Trubisky that is just really, really fucking scary to project this any other way. But the good news here is I think this is going to let us build with 3-3 stacks. Yes. Because everybody's going to want to go 4-2, or I don't know if anybody's going to go 5-1. This feels like a 4-2, 3-3 type of slate, and I think this is a 3-3 all day.
And in fact, I know this is crazy, but you can even lean towards 4-2 Chicago, I think.
Yeah,
if you really want to get different, I wouldn't do it too much. But if you're in a large field, if you're in the biggest field tournament, 4-2 Chicago, you can do whatever you want because you will instantly be different from a roster construction perspective. You're talking about over 100 points difference in ownership. So if you just stack on one extra Chicago guy with a 3-3, you're going to be instantly different. So we'll move on here to our screen capture for Fantasy Cruncher here. Let's take a look at. I'll zoom in. So you got Drew Brees. And, what could potentially be his last game. I know that sounds crazy. I know that the Saints are most likely going to win this game, but anything can happen. We almost saw Tyler Heineke beat fucking Tom Brady, in a playoff game.
Playoffs?
So, look, Drew Brees is at 10.4K. I don't expect them to lose, but 10.4K is a pretty good price for Drew Brees. In the past, we've been okay with fading Brees in these showdown slates. I feel like you got to get him involved today, simply because look, Mitch Trubisky is at 9,200. At that price tag, I mean, we're creeping up on into the 8,000 range, which is Ben DiNucci land, and I think that Mitchell Trubisky is a much better fantasy option than 9,200. Me personally, I'm okay with having Mitch Trubisky in every single lineup. I actually love it. I love it. It's pretty risky to do that, but I'm okay with getting him at 9,200. And if I do that, I'm also pretty good with getting Drew Brees in at that price as well. So what are your thoughts on quarterbacks here? Do we have to have both in each lineup? Can we fade one or the other?
I like both. I do think this is a game that Drew Brees does get there. I don't know if he goes off, but I think having all of his weapons back, it just seems like a bad idea to not have him in a fantasy lineup. Harris has a good $200 punt. Who do you like most under $1,000? Well, I think you answered the question, dude. I mean, yeah, Harris looks pretty good right now, and we'll get into it a little bit further because we're still diving into it. I think there are a couple options, but I think you're right on with Harris. But yeah,
Harris, Callaway is Callaway under 1,000?
No, he's 2K.
He's 2K. Javon Wims also a good option at that price tag, but Callaway is also a good lower end option. But to me, I'm getting a ton of Harris. It's scary right now. Out of 42 lineups, I have 33% Harris. So. Yeah. Anyways, so to get back to the quarterbacks here, we're going to try to push through this. We've got about 38 minutes to lock, so let's push through this. Brees and Trubisky. I know that Trubisky is going to be a lot lower owned, I think, than 34%. I feel like he can be lower owned. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Trubisky's ownership? Can you get him in every lineup? Can you get both quarterback in every lineup? And then do you have any interest in Taysom Hill as a random dart throw at 6K?
Taysom Hill, sure. One or two lineups at max if you're actually max entering a contest. Yeah. But yeah, both quarterbacks. I love Mitch Trubisky. Okay, let me correct that. I don't like him as a fantasy player. I don't like him as a fucking football player. But if his ownership's really going to be that low, I don't see how you don't just jam him in. There's enough value on this slate that you're not going to be too fucked up going either way. So I think you can get both quarterbacks in, and I think you need to.
All right, let's move over to running backs here for the Saints. So look, we've got Alvin Kamara. The last time this dude touched the field, he had 6 fucking touchdowns. Absolutely insane. He's at 11.2K. I don't think you can overthink this too much, but I think he does get a slight decrease in opportunities simply because we've got Michael Thomas coming back. They were using Alvin Kamara in the past game as sort of a rushing attack. That's why he was getting all these targets. He was getting a ton of PPR points. With Michael Thomas coming back, aka Slant Boy, I think that Michael Thomas is going to end up getting a lot of those random short dump-off passes that Alvin Kamara would be getting. I still think Kamara will be involved in the pass game. But does Kamara get a slight decrease here? And do you like Latavius Murray at 4K?
Yeah, I think both are in play 100%. I think, there's a potential that Alvin Kamara gets a slight decrease in overall involvement in the offense with Michael Thomas being back. But if I'm being 100% honest, I think that's impacting Latavius Murray more than it is Alvin Kamara, right?
Yeah.
Alvin literally needs a total of 15 plays that involve him specifically, and he's probably going to get there from a fantasy perspective, right? So he's never been a guy who's been volume dependent to get you those numbers. So I just don't know if it impacts him too much. Latavius Murray, because he is already volume impacted, and he gets more involvement on the rushing side of the ball right now. I think those potential targets that can go to Michael Thomas impact him a little bit more. So and when it's PPR, it's definitely important to keep that in mind. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this because he's also $4,000, so fucking play him.
Yeah, I think, look, we've always been high on Latavius Murray. And, last week he was 4,800. The week before he was 2,000. So he's kind of all over the place. It depends on whether or not Kamara is going to get full run, at least in the past pricing. But at 4K for him today, I feel pretty good with getting a lot of him. I know it's risky. I know there's opportunity where he just doesn't see the volume you need. And maybe he doesn't get the goal line opportunities that we need from him. He's going to be touchdown dependent. If he's probably going to get you 50 to 60 yards, maybe one reception, he needs a touchdown today to get there. To me, I feel pretty comfortable in the fact that he can probably get you there. It's a risk. Absolutely. You're playing a backup running back with one of the best running backs in the league. Typically speaking, look, we see Latavius Murray start the game with a handoff. He's in the game as a running back right off the bat. We've seen him get multiple carries on the first drive. So if we see that today, I'm going to be really excited about all the exposure I have to him. If we see Kamara right out of the gate just getting all the handoffs, I'm going to be a little bit worried here. So what's your comfortability with Latavius Murray, like your exposure to him? He's projected right around 20%. Would you get over the field on him today?
Yeah, I'll probably double the field. Half my lineups isn't too bad, or at least 40%, right? I think 40% is kind of a reasonable spot. You don't got to get too crazy with it.
I think I actually have him at 50%, which is I'm not comfortable with. He just graded out well for me when I was building. So I'm going to embrace that. So with Kamara here, you just got to put him in every lineup, right? Is there a situation where you would not have Alvin Kamara in the flex or in the captain? That you can get a lot of leverage, but sometimes it's not good to get stupid leverage with a guy that can get you 40 fantasy points.
Yeah, it depends on if Deontay Harris all of a sudden starts getting a shitload of ownership, because if him and Javon Wims start getting ownership, then that means everybody's building lineups with Kamara. And I think, you might be able to choose in a couple lineups going Kamara over Thomas and doing a Breeze Thomas and fucking $200 boy, Deontay Harris. Yeah, stack. So I think that's viable to kind of get off some of the Kamara chalk. But again, I'm building 3-3, so I don't know if I need to try and fade any chalk right now. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'll be fading him in any lineups. I'll probably end up close to like 75-80% just because of pricing restrictions on some builds.
For single entry, Kamara is a great option. For cash, obviously, just put him in your captain. I think that's the safest route. And you can put a Deontay Harris or a Wims in your cash lineups. It's a little risky, but like in order to get the best value there and get the rest of your flex positions that you're comfortable with, punting on one player at $200, who all you need to get is a couple catches to get you there in cash, I think it's worth it for both cash and tournaments. So let's move over to the other side for Chicago. You got David Montgomery at 10.2K. Now, look, he's been getting there lately. Look at this. These numbers have been very, very impressive. Whatever the Bears have done to get this guy involved, it's fucking working. So they're going to want to continue that. I just don't know if the matchup is worthy of him at 10.2K. Now, look, he's getting 32 carries, 23 carries, 22 carries in the last 3 weeks. Absolutely crushing it. Going against defenses that aren't necessarily good against the rush. He's had over 20 fantasy points every week since week 12. How can you avoid these numbers here? I know it's a bad matchup, but don't you have to consider that they're going to want to involve David Montgomery with 20 plus carries? And if that's the case, you're going to want to have him in your lineups, right?
I don't want to have him in my lineups. Yes, I think he's a very much a viable play. I think he's easy chalk. I think he might be a solid cash game play, but there's just a couple things here. I don't expect him to be involved because I don't expect them to be leading really at any point in this game. So if this game is even close to what the Vegas line says, he's probably going to stop getting many carries in the first half. Right. Come the second half, what are they supposed to do? And I don't think it takes a genius offensive or defensive coordinator to say, hey, how do you beat the Bears offense? Commit to the run and make Mitch Trubisky beat you with great passing. So this is a strong defensive line. They want to be in past situations. So I think they're going to sell out and stop the run, man. I really don't think David Montgomery is going to have a good day today. That means he probably is going to go for 180 and 3 touchdowns. But pull his stats back up. I do want to look at something. You know, at least 4 of those defenses are in the bottom 25.
Yeah, exactly.
So in rush defense specifically.
And look, last time they played New Orleans, he had 21 carries for 89 yards, no touchdowns. He ended up with 12 fantasy points. Now, look, you can use that as a judgment here, but like obviously they've changed something over the last few weeks. So whatever it is they changed, they're prioritizing David Montgomery. Now, will that translate into actual production against the Saints? I don't know. I'm leaning more towards no. But for me, I'm actually interested in David Montgomery at captain quite a bit. Like, this is sort of a Corey Davis play. Like, I didn't have any Corey Davis in the flex, but I chose to play Corey Davis at captain. This is sort of the same thing for me in this particular game with David Montgomery. I either think he goes off or he doesn't do shit. There's sort of a no in between. So if that's the case, I like him more in captain than I do in the flex. And at that price tag, I don't think anybody's going to really embrace him at captain like I'm willing to.
Hey, so did you get this screenshot?
What screenshot?
So somebody on the show just pulled in $2,000.
No shit.
Lamar Jackson, Gus Edwards, Fursker, Derrick Henry, Tannehill, Tucker.
Nice. Where'd you get that at? Where'd you see
Twitter.
that? Nice. There we go. Love it. Let's do it again. If it wasn't for fucking Ronald Jones, we'd be having a lot more of those screenshots here.
All right, before we get off of this, I do want to say something. The Saints are the number 4 rush defense in the NFL. The Packers were the best rush defense that they've played in the past few weeks. They're about 17 or 18. After that, Jaguars, Texans are dead last. Jaguars are 3rd to last. Lions are 5th to last. Look, I get it, and I do think there is a world that David Montgomery does get there. I just don't think it's against the Saints. The Saints are going to shut this shit down.
I agree. I think he's a little higher owned. If he's at 40% in the flex or 40%, in the flex, I just think that's too high for him potentially in this matchup. I'm more willing to go to the wide receivers here. And let's move over to that side. Allen Robinson at 9.6K. I would rather have Allen Robinson in every single lineup as opposed to Montgomery.
I probably will.
He's 9,600. He's getting less ownership. I know you got Mitch Trubisky has to get him the ball. I get it. I understand that. But Allen Robinson, to me, is one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. If this dude was on a better team, he would be absolutely crushing. If you look at him every week, his soul is dying every time he has to step out on there on the field with his team. I feel so bad for Allen Robinson if he could actually get a good offense and a good quarterback. Look, this is his chance to show off in the playoffs here. I think he can become near a household name if he goes off in this particular game against the Saints. At 9,600, he's a lock, and he will be in every single one of my lineups. I have no problem putting him and Mitch Trubisky together in every single one of my lineups. I know it's a little risky with Mitch, but I'm totally comfortable with the team that's down by 10 points. They're going to pass the ball 40 times. Don't you agree? Yeah,
I agree entirely. And I honestly, he is my favorite just overall captain.
Oh yeah,
I'm building with him right now, and it's really not terrible. I love it a lot, right? Like I can pretty much get whoever I want. Now, granted, that is a lot because of the value that's on this slate. But yeah, A-Rob will be in every single lineup that I have. And imagine if the Bears are able to fleece Houston this offseason and rectify their mistake and pull in Deshaun Watson. Imagine Deshaun Watson throwing to Allen Robinson. So.
Nice.
If you can think of that and go, God damn, this guy could absolutely have a huge season, then, I mean, I think you got to think about him from a fantasy perspective. So I have him at least 20, 25 in my captain spots right now.
All right, so let's move this along here. Anthony Miller is the obvious value play here, 3,800. I don't think you need to get into any of the kickers. I don't think you need to get into the defenses, in my opinion, because those are right around the same price tags. And at 3,800, you have a guy who's projecting for right around 10 fantasy points. And Brandon, I'm not touching Nick Foles at all. If I was doing 150 lineups, maybe I do one Nick Foles lineup just in case. Like we all saw the Marcus Mariota captain showdown. Like it's a straight up lottery ticket. I'm not gonna say that. at all. I'm not going to have any Trubisky. So Anthony Miller at 3,800. He's projected right around 20%. That's way too low in my opinion. I think that number will be higher when we get to lock.
It should be.
But at 3,800, how do you avoid Anthony Miller? He has high upside. This guy was the dude before Mooney came along. He was Mooney. He was the guy. He was this future number 2 wide receiver. He was the deep threat. He was that home run hitter. At 3,800, I like his upside, but there is an opportunity where Anthony Miller might not get the targets he needs to pay off. But I think at 3,800, it's a safe bet that you can play him, especially in cash.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, dude. Look, I don't know if you want to get off him. 3,800. What do you want to play? Will Lutz instead? Cairo Santos. I'm more scared having a kicker kick in Chicago than I am about Anthony Miller. I love Anthony Miller. I'll be on him. If you want to fade him, I think you can drop down to Javon Wims, and this is just because I won't have more than 2 wide receivers from the Bears in any lineup, right? Javon Wims, remember, this is a deep GPP stab, right? Yeah. I'll have a decent amount of exposure. And to be completely honest with you, I think he's going to get a slight boost with Darnell Mooney being out. So I think he does have the opportunity to catch a big one and take it to the house. And I believe isn't he involved in the special teams too?
Javon Wims? I don't know about that. That's a good question. I know who is involved in special teams. My boy Cordero Patterson. Now look,
1K.
Look, there's a situation here. I'm one of the biggest Cordero Patterson truthers in the world, and it's hurt me in the past pretty bad. But there's a situation here where he was the starting running back for a few weeks. He was getting maybe 1 week? I don't know. There was 1 week where he was getting most of the carries. They didn't have any running back options. There's a situation where he can get some running back snaps today. If they're down by a lot of points, if they're down by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns in the second half, expect Cordero Patterson to get a couple maybe carries, a couple draw plays, a couple targets out of the backfield. Now, is it worth it at 1,000? Probably not. This is a deep GPP stab, and this is a good pivot off of some of these cheaper guys that are going to be maybe too high owned. Spend up a little bit at for Cordero Patterson at $1,000, and you could probably get a random touchdown and maybe 3 or 4 receptions, but it's a deep GPP play. Anything else to talk about here?
Yeah, he's the backup running back too.
Yeah, he is. I mean, you have Ryan Nall technically, but he's really the backup running back. He really is. So like I said, in a game where they're potentially going to be down by multiple touchdowns, he's a good option. So let's move over to the other side, New Orleans here. So this is going to be interesting, right? So Traquan's out, Michael Thomas is back at full strength. Michael Thomas is 10K. Can we trust him to have the production of old Michael Thomas? And at that price tag, you're going to have to make a decision. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, and Kamara in the same lineup might not be. I mean, it's possible with all the value, but you're going to have to punt in multiple positions here, especially if you have Kamara at captain. So with Michael Thomas at 10K, do you trust him to pay that salary off?
Yeah. I mean, look, he's Michael Thomas. He's going to get a shitload of targets. He's not a bad play. I think, yeah, dude. Look, I love tight ends. So A-Town down. If you watch some of our other showdowns from the earlier in the year, I love tight ends. I think Jimmy Graham's actually a solid play, and we'll get to that in a little bit here. But hopefully he doesn't have a Gronk or a Rojo night. At least Gronk was active and scored a 0, so I guess that's something. Look, Michael Thomas is in play. Emmanuel Sanders is going to be an interesting play as well because he's priced up like MT won't play. So with that said, you're going to have a little bit of ownership depressed on him. He does have a good matchup today, and I think he has the opportunity to get there, right? And MT being back is going to take a lot of focus off of Emmanuel Sanders. He's starting to come into his own in the offense. So I think he's an interesting contrarian play from a GPP perspective. And then Deontay Harris, I don't think this is, genius reporting or anything, but I mean, $200, 6 points. I mean, if he's on the field, we saw it with Ferkser, whatever the fuck his name is, right? If you get a couple catches at 6 points, you're paying off a $1,400 price tag.
So look, we've got 21 minutes here. All right. So we need to get into these builds. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
I absolutely agree that Deontay Harris is a great option, but we need to talk about the difference between RotoGrinders projections and Osmos projections. Deontay Harris is at 6.5 or whatever. Osimo, on your side of things, it's flipped with Marquez Callaway. This is what we need to talk about. Is Marquez Callaway going to be the guy who gets those targets, who has a higher median projection, or is it Deontay Harris? On your side, you're seeing it the other way, right?
Yeah, Roto Grinders has it the other way. Honestly, I don't think I don't think you're doing anything wrong taking stabs at either guy. Pricing is soft enough that you can choose whoever you want. I'll probably have more exposure to Deontay Harris just because he's $200.
Let's talk about tight ends real quick. Jared Cook is a great option at 6,800. He's hovering right around 20% ownership ish. I don't think there's anything too crazy with him. I would consider him at captain, in large field tournaments. I don't think you need to get there in smaller tournaments. He has the 2 touchdown upside that you want. When it comes to Adam Troutman and Josh Hill, I like Josh Hill more. Like, I don't like him, but I like him more than Troutman. I think Josh Hill can get you 1 catch for a touchdown. I just don't think you need him at $200. I still think he can score a touchdown, and he probably will. Now that I'm saying that you don't need him, but in my opinion, I don't think you need to get down to him. Just stick with Callaway, or I'm sorry, stick with Deontay Harris. You don't really need to get too crazy here. Let's see, any news coming out? Nope. Karl Anthony Towns is out, if anybody cares. So on the other side here, Chicago, Cole Kmet is 5,400. Jimmy Graham's 5K. I'm not getting to too much Cole Kmet. I'm not getting to too much Jimmy Graham, although we do know that Jimmy Graham has high upside. What are your thoughts on these tight ends here? Who's your favorite if you had to rank them in order before we move on?
I think they're all just really expensive. Probably Jared Cook, then Jimmy Graham, Cole Kmet, and then I really am not interested in the rest of them.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit interesting. I think that there's a situation where one of these guys goes off. I'm personally going to be a little bit under on them, and I'm not comfortable with that. But it's just the way that my lineups worked out. I can't fit everyone in, and having Jimmy Graham in like 20 or 30% of my lineups is not something I want to do. If anything, I'll put Jimmy Graham in the captain because he's the kind of guy that can get you 2 touchdowns, but he's also the kind of guy that can get you literally a 0, a big goose egg, a la Gronk. So kickers and defense here. Will Lutz, he's at 3,600. Cairo Santos is at 3,200. Their ownership is going to be a little bit higher than it should be, most likely because of that median projection. I would rather just go with some of these other options like Latavius Murray, Callaway. There's other options. Anthony Miller. To me, I'd rather go with Anthony Miller 100% of my lineups over these guys. Correct?
Yeah, I'm doing that. I don't want kickers.
So Saints defense 4,800, Bears defense 2,800. We got to consider Saints defense here, don't we? Against Mitch Trubisky in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they're fine. I'm not planning on that though. I want all the Mitch I can get. So I'm going to be playing a shitload of Mitch Trubisky. I don't think I'm going to get much to the Saints defense. They're definitely in play though.
All right, we're going to move over to our fade of the night here so we can quickly get into our lineup builds and answer your guys' questions. Hit us up in the chat if you want to see a certain captain. We can build with him. So let's do it.
What's your name? Tony! Fuck you, Tony!
Who are we telling to fuck off? Ellie, David Montgomery, right? Tell me about it.
Yeah, man, it's really simple. I just don't think that they're going to be winning in this game pretty much at any point, so they're not going to be able to rely on him like they should. This is going to come down to Mitch Trubisky keeping him in the game. I think the Saints defense is prepared to stop him as well. So that's what I got.
Look, this is not making me comfortable here. We're gonna build with A-Rob and the captain. Absolutely, that's my favorite build. Ellie, that's your favorite build. We're gonna build the hell out of that. Michael Thomas absolutely has the upside. We've seen it. We're talking about potentially a top 3 wide receiver before this season. Going into the season, he was one of the elite guys. I think he can get back there. This is the playoffs. Anything can happen. It scares me to fade him, but I have to make a decision. I absolutely have to make a decision here. And I have to choose between probably Breeze and Kamara or Thomas. And I feel more comfortable fading Thomas at that price tag. Trubisky won money before in Showdown. Me too. Absolutely. I think Trubisky has upside. Latavius Murray is a solid pick, Raf. It's a little risky. He might just end up with 3 or 4 fantasy points and not get there. He needs to score a touchdown. If you think he can score a touchdown, I think he's a good pick, especially at that price tag. Me personally, I have like 50-something% of him out of 42 lineups. I'm scared as hell, but he has the upside. Opinion on Taysom Hill. He's a deep GPP throw. I think he also can maybe get in as a wide receiver, catch a couple balls. I think he probably can get you 5 or 6 fantasy points, maybe with an upside of a touchdown. I don't think he's going to get the volume you need at 6,000. There's better options, in other positions. So let's move over to. I'm sorry, Ellie. Do you have any opinion on Taysom Hill? Anything to add to that?
No, I actually am right there with you. He needs a touchdown to be viable.
This is our captain choice, our crown their ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Fitting. Thanks, Denny Green. Ellie, tell me about Anthony Miller, your pick.
Yeah, look, most of my lineups are going to be Allen Robinson, just to be very clear. Anthony Miller is more of a deeper GPP flyer. Yeah, we're going to get it, and Daddy. I felt awkward saying that. Anthony Miller, dude, he's too cheap. You can put in whoever you want and be fine. He should only be 1-2% owned at the captain spot, so I don't think you're getting too crazy by running 6 or 7 lineups in a 20 max and then filling the rest with A-Rob, Drew Brees, or Kamara.
Concrete Botanical, hey, what's up? Allen Robinson, an obvious choice to me. He has the upside. His ownership is half of what Kamara's is, and he still has that similar ceiling, especially for a team that's going to be potentially losing by 2 or 3 touchdowns in the second half. He's going to get garbage time receptions. He's a PPR dominator. So let's see. Do you guys wear each other's panties? Absolutely. Thanks, Jason. We appreciate the constructive comment there as we're about 14 minutes away from lock. Let's move on here. Let's build. What do you think?
Yeah, let me know when you can see.
All right. And go ahead, bro. So let's do an Allen Robinson captain here.
Okay. All right, we got A-Rob captain. You want to let's optimize.
Yeah.
On Wims, Anthony Miller, Drew Brees, Thomas, Kamara. That is
a solid lineup. I'm not scared of that at all.
I mean, look, I honestly think this is now. Granted, the projections are a little bit different here. What's going on? I don't know. Deontay Harris.
Is Harris not in the fucking player pool? On you got to be kidding me, dude. Of course, they're not in the player pool. Thanks, Roto Grinders. Appreciate you.
Let's see if this updates now. Okay. Optimize Javon Williams. Can we get to Harris now? There we go.
There he is.
I prefer this if I'm going to run this as an optimal. Actually, I am going to put this into a cash game.
Yeah, it's DW. Oh man, that's why. That's interesting. On the Draftkings app, there's 2 Harrises. Yeah, interesting. Okay. All right, so let's move on. Let's build a Drew Brees fade lineup with A-Rob and the captain.
Cool.
And hit us up in the chat if you want to see a certain captain. We're gonna do a chalky Kamara captain second. Got about 12 minutes to lock.
A-Rob, so I want Mitch for sure. If we're fading, then what? We want to go Murray?
Yeah. Let's do a rush heavy, maybe with 1 wide receiver from the Saints and a pass heavy Bears game script here.
All right, so that puts us down to, I mean, look. A-Rob, Mitch, Murray, Patterson, Thomas, Kamara.
Yeah, captain. Yeah, Kamara. We're going to build that right now. That is the obviously best captain option. We're trying to get a little bit different with Robinson here. This is a nice one here. Murray. So Jose's asking, so y'all have faith in A-Rob with his defense full strength. Trubisky's still the quarterback. I feel you. Look, we're using projections. I'm using the probability of him being in the top lineup. He's the number 1 wide receiver for a team that's going to be down by a shitload of points. I expect him to get a bunch of targets. Do I have faith? Not really. But when we're playing, DFS, we have to take a flyer on some lower owned guys with high upside, and that's what we're doing here. So let's do a Kamara. Let's do a Kamara captain.
Got it. Let's do it.
So Kamara captain. Did we do that already? Did we do Kamara captain? Okay, Kamara captain, and then Ray Enos. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, and go ahead and exit out if you don't like what we have to say. There's plenty of other shows to watch. Thanks, Ray.
All right. Who else you want to get in here?
Just optimize and see what happens. Wims, Santos, Trubisky, Drew Brees, and Michael Thomas. That's going to be pretty chalky. We obviously know that. How can we get different here?
I mean,
Harris?
I don't want to do that. So that gives us what? What's Patterson? I mean, at 15%, I think he's viable. Thanks for the feedback, Ray. We appreciate it, man. All right, 2,600. Let's see what else we got. So what about this? This seems fine here. This is a little bit deeper GPP, right? You got Callaway, Patterson, Trubisky, Breeze, Michael Thomas, and then Kamara.
Let's do a Breeze fade in the flex with Kamara at captain.
Breeze fade with Kamara at the captain.
Jose, I think Mike Thomas is going to crush today. He looks good right now on the field. Very possible. Very possible. Ray Ennis, I want to know, answer me. Look, I don't want to argue with 9 minutes left to lock. This is not how you talk to someone who's giving free advice. These guys don't know anything. Then copy that. We appreciate the support, Ray.
All right. So we can go David Montgomery. I mean, that is interesting if you want to throw him in there. I'd recommend kind of fading Trubisky if that's the way you're going to go, but this is definitely viable. But it's 2 running backs. Not too high on this. Do you want to take out maybe Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've pretty much got. Oh, here we go. Mitch Trubisky. Is there anybody else that wants to build with another?
Bye, Felicia.
Is there anybody else you guys want to build with while we're working on this lineup here? So Alvin Kamara, Emmanuel Sanders, Mitch Trubisky. I'm kind of like Jared Cook if we're going this route. Or do you want to go Latavius Murray?
Let's go Lat Murray. Raft Productions. Thank you, Chris Smith. Thanks, brother.
Hey, Rob. That gives us 2,200 left. I mean, look, I'm actually okay with this. What do you think? Kamara, Sanders, Murray. No, that might be a little bit too heavy this way.
Let's do. Look, find a lineup you like here with Kamara. And let's move on to Mike Thomas at captain. I think we have to figure out if that's worth it and how that build actually ends up.
Let's go. So this is going to be the optimal without a captain. It's essentially the same kind of lineups that we've been seeing now. Kamara, Breeze, Trubisky, Miller, Wims.
Brandon, thanks, man. Glad you're winning money. Appreciate it. So, Wims seems to be on Roto-Grinders. Wims seems to be the guy over Harris, right? I mean, you're getting more of him. Just simply like we said before, Harris was getting less of a projection on Roto-Grinders than was on Osimo. Fade Mike Thomas. I am too, Brandon. I'm totally comfortable with that.
So it looks like they're doing that so they can essentially get kind of a 3-3 stack in there. What if we, I know this is ballsy, but what if we went without Kamara in this type of lineup? And let's see. Well, I mean, if we're doing that, we are missing out on Robinson here.
So, Raf, cheapest punt at captain?
Probably Anthony Miller, man.
Yeah, I'd say Anthony Miller's a good option for sure.
Ray just got back from the Capitol. Yeah, guys. So now that it looks like the spam's kind of cut back a little bit here, if you guys want to get us a captain choice in here, you're welcome to.
Yeah, hit us up with the captain. If you want to see us build with, let's do an Anthony Miller build. Let's do that.
I like the Anthony Miller builds, man. Those were actually pretty fun. I did get a little carried away, so I did another 20 max.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
All right.
I heard a guy say once, one of the Osimo touts, I think it was. He said instead of instead of changing your lineups, just enter a few more.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
All right, so
That's one thing I can't get over. If I change my lineup, that's going to be the lineup that wins it, and then I'm never going to be able to live it down.
yeah, exactly.
We
So
got 5 minutes to lock, guys. So Anthony Miller, yeah, dude. I mean, you can get anybody you want. If you put Anthony Miller at captain, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can pile everybody in. What do we have left for that last spot?
we got 3,900.
3,900.
I mean, look, dude, I don't think this is terrible. I mean, you're leaving a little bit of salary on the table, but I mean, I think you're capturing a lot of upside here.
Miller, what's the projected points there? 91. Look, this is a situation where Miller just needs a touchdown, and as long as the rest of your flex positions don't fuck it up for you, you should be fine.
Now, obviously, this is the optimal off of Miller at captain. This is going to be projected a little bit higher because of the median projection coming from the kickers.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say one thing while we're building this. Who do you want me to switch to?
Hit us up in the chat if you want us to do one last minute build here with the captain. Do you want to do a Mitch Trubisky captain build? Because I actually have, let's see, I have 20% Mitch Trubisky in the captain, and I have Mitch Trubisky in 90% of my lineups. God, that scares me.
Yeah, dude,
scares me. And
just, I know someone brought it up earlier. Yes, I fucking hate Mitch Trubisky. I do not think he's a good quarterback. I'm pretty sure he's a sock puppet, in real life. I don't know, but yeah. So A-Rob, Mitch Trubisky.
Let's do 2 wide receivers. Let's do Anthony Miller as well. This is a pass on slot heavy Chicago game script. You almost had it there. Oh. What about man? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This is a crazy ass lineup, but this actually feels pretty good. What if instead of Breeze can you afford Thomas instead of Breeze?
I'm pretty sure. It should be cheaper. Yeah.
Dude. It's risky, but I kind of like it. You got Mitch in the captain, Robinson, Miller, Patterson. You got Patterson in as the kind of that backup. Hopefully Callaway does as good as Ferkster did. Absolutely. It was crazy. Ferkster was just popping so much when I was trying to build any lineup. He was the guy to go to. And thankfully he actually, what did he get? 9 fantasy points or something like that. Brandon, good luck. Let us know how you guys do. We got 3 minutes to lock. Get everything in before lock. Anything else to try here?
You know what we haven't done? We haven't done Drew Brees captain.
Yeah, I literally have 0 Drew Brees captain, but I think for cash, there might be a nice option to pay down just a little bit from Kamara.
I actually did a couple Drew Brees captain, so you handle the Mitch, I'll handle the Drew Brees, and we'll cry about it
from there. Yeah, exactly.
On the later show. Mitch Trubisky.
2 minutes.
Throw in.
Yeah, Cordell Patterson, man, he is a sneaky play. The 1 week that no one cares about him is when he will go off, and I'm scared that he might go off this week. Because, like we said, game script wise, if they're down, he's going to be the backup running. He's going to be the running back that's in the game getting those dump off passes.
Deontay, what does this give us? This gives us 4,200. I mean, this isn't. I don't hate this either. Drew Brees, Kamara, A-Rob, Mitch, Deontay Harris, Anthony Miller.
I love it. 1 minute. Stick with us, guys. Pass lock. We're going to talk about ownership and talk about some things we're looking forward to. Give our predictions. 1 minute to lock. Captain. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, look.
How could you go wrong with that?
This is a bit of an onslaught, but can we?
Is that a reverse? That's a 2-4, huh?
Yeah. What if? Oh man, that would have been cool. Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah.
didn't really get any Emmanuel Sanders. I think he's going to slip through the cracks. I'm worried about my Emmanuel Sanders exposure for sure. 2 seconds, 1 second, and we're locked.
So now that we're locked, dude, is Ray a fucking safari hunter? Like, his.
I don't know.
All right, well, I'm just gonna block this.
DFS King, thanks for your constructive comments. We appreciate it. All right, we are locked. Let's look at ownership here. We're in this weird purgatory where you can't check anything yet, where it's still locking.
You want to switch back for me so I can
Oh yeah.
not put us in the mirror tunnel?
Are you getting anything yet with ownership popping up yet?
I'm about to check right now.
All right. So thanks again, guys. We appreciate you joining us.
Some lively discussion today. It was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Got some grumpies going on here. Just take it out of our pay.
I'm sorry, man. Thank you, DFS King.
What's going on here? Interesting.
All right. So let's pull up ownership. Drew Brees, 61%, 12% captain. Kamara, 76%, 26% captain. A-Rob's only coming in at 48%, though.
Interesting.
8% captain.
Saints defense is my captain. Yeah, there you go.
40% Mitch, 6% captain. Anthony Miller's only 26% owned.
What about the cheap guys? I want to see their ownership.
Deontay Harris is 3% owned.
What? Wait, which tournament are you in?
It's a 20 max. Let me go over to this other one. Maybe that's a smaller 20 max.
That's insane. That seems way too low for him. Maybe did we miss something here? Jeez. Yeah, Deontay Harris 3% owned.
Yeah,
If
look,
that's the case, I mean, dude, that's okay. I kind of like it.
$200. It's not an awful punt. Look, I'm not upset about it, right? I mean, he's gonna see some targets. You don't need much from him. It's pretty simple there.
All right, Ellie. So can we hit the over here? And what's your prediction on this game? Can the Bears stick within that? Can they get it? No one's here. No one's watching this. It doesn't matter. Can the Bears stick within that 10.5 points? Can they actually cover?
I have no idea, man. I'm just gonna say yes now, just because Taylor Heineke fucking pulled through last night, right? So if he can do it, then goddamn, there's Mitch Trubisky has to be able to, right?
You would think so. Let's hope so. Let's hope this game stays close at least, so we can at least have an entertaining playoff game, and it's not trash. All right, so we got another show tonight, guys. Hang out with us later for the final game, the Browns versus Steelers. Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate everything. Good luck. Let us know how you guys do, and thanks for watching. We'll see you later.